You have a lot of these guys, Zach, that have been on the roster for such a long time, and I just don't know. You were mentioning it earlier about you need to blow this team up. I don't think you can just roll over the same guys you've lost with every single year. I tweeted this today, but Dion, I would say, there's a lot of controversy about Dion. Some people don't like him. I don't know why there's controversy, but there's a lot of people that don't like Dion. What did he have to do, though, to instill a winning culture? Because the Buffs have already won 3 times more games than they did last year. He had to first bring in 80-something new players. And I was watching Joel Klatt a couple weeks ago, and I tweeted this video out as well. And I want to play it on the podcast real quick, so I will do that.
If you're watching this right now, coaches do not build culture. They just don't.
Oh,
okay. Coaches have expectations and rules.
Who builds culture?
I'm about to tell you. This is going to be very. You might want to write this down.
This is your theory.
Coaches have expectations and rules. Okay. Now everyone has to meet those. And generally speaking, most teams just get to the level of their coaches' expectations or rules on and off the field. The teams with great culture are the ones that have a leadership group on that team where their standard is above the coach's expectations and rules, and it's internally held in the locker room. And then the standard goes above what the coaches can even put onto their players. That's a culture. If you're watching this,
yeah, that's exactly it right there. It's you can hire a coach, but if you're running back the same players, I mean, you have to think about it. How many Bowles has lost? There's a clip of it of him being like, "I'm tired of losing." But Bowles is a guy that's been around through 3 different coaches now. He's been on the Broncos for a long time, and the guy has done nothing but lose.
And it's part of the losing culture.
And all of this is like, you need to scrap some of this and you need to restart. I understand, you're going to piss some people off in the process or whatever the case may be, but you need to rip the Band-Aid off. You have to start getting some players in here that are coming in with a fresh outlook. And you don't have these other players in the locker room with these guys with the fresh outlook that have seen nothing but losing on the team that they're currently on. They need to be out. I think that it's time to blow this team up, and I think it's for that exact reason. It's going to be impossible, quite frankly, I think, for Sean Payton to bring a new culture into Denver if he's not willing to cut ties with some of these players.
Yeah, a lot of them have to. He has to cut ties with. There's just like 7 players on this roster that have been around winning in the NFL. It's a problem. I think the common argument against it that I see in Broncos country is like, oh my God, but we've been bad for so long. I don't want to rebuild now. I don't want to be bad for longer. You know why they've been bad for so long? Because they refuse to rebuild. If you continue to refuse to rebuild, they'll continue to be bad for even longer. They're going to continue to perpetuate this awfulness. Accepting a rebuild and just like, hey, we're going to be bad for a couple of years is how you get good. Just accept it. Just like bottom out rather than just, I don't know, keep revving the engine and not going anywhere. It's terrible. You need a culture change. Speaking of culture, though, I did see a comment. Could you highlight the comment about Sean Payton, Joey, from user JK3?
This one, head coach always takes the blame.
Yeah, and he said it's about time we start blaming the head coach too. Okay, Sean Payton absolutely deserves some blame, right? Vance Joseph, bad hire.
Yep.
Also, head coach is the CEO of the organization. Organization put forward a horrible showing on Sunday. Sean Payton deserves some blame, 1,000%. He is also like almost 100% responsible for the only thing going well for the Broncos, which is the offense. And the offense did take a big step back, in large part because of the turnovers from Cortland Sutton on Sunday. But again, that's not, I think, a coaching schematic problem. That's a talent deficiency issue. The Broncos have bad wide receivers who are making mistakes and costing the team. They entered this week scoring touchdowns on the highest percentage of their drive of any team in the league. We remember what this offense was like last year. Sean Payton is doing an awesome job coaching up the offense, like 1,000%. And that is honestly Sean Payton's coaching of the offense. I think like the only thing going well for the Broncos this year. That and Javonte Williams' miraculous recovery from a gruesome injury. I think those are the two positive, and Marvin Mims. 3 things. And also, who would we give credit to about the Marvin Mims thing to? Sean Payton. Russell Wilson's resurgence, the fact that maybe instead of cutting Russell Wilson now, you could trade him to a team and recoup like a 5th round pick or whatever, which like you only need $20 million in dead cap rather than like 100. That's huge. That's huge value he's creating for the franchise. That's saving this franchise's future. So should we give him blame? And like, I hear you, 70 points is unheard of in today's NFL. Sean Payton, like, let's not pull wool over our eyes. He is, yes, the head coach. He's more responsible for the offense than the defense. Vance Joseph's in charge of the defense, and totally fire that guy. Blame Sean Payton for hiring him. I'm with you. Look at the coaching job he's doing on that. Don't throw the baby out with the bath. You also already invested a 1st-round pick in this guy. And there are... Yeah, and I think he's one of the only things going well for the Broncos right now. Although he's not Jesus Christ. He does have mistakes too. He has flaws. He has things to critique. The positives he's providing are some of the only positives the Broncos have this season. So that's why he's lower on the list of people I'm pointing the finger at right now.
Yeah, I am in the exact same boat. I feel like the overreaction with Sean Payton, I definitely think he deserves blame, because when I bring up the culture, it also encompasses for me the team quitting. And yesterday it felt like the Broncos quit. And we're in week 3. It's not week 15, Zach, where you are out of the playoffs and you have nothing to play for anymore. It's week 3, and the Broncos defense quit on you probably right after the first quarter. They didn't care at all. It's really felt like that. So that is where maybe a little bit of blame goes, but I did play that clip earlier, and I don't want to get all the way back into that part. It's just, how can you blame him entirely for inheriting a roster that is this dysfunctional, man? It's dysfunctional.
But I guess part of it to me is we saw the quit in these guys a year ago. And to your point, so many of these players have been losing for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So you start getting boat raced by the Miami Dolphins, and this team starts quitting. Like, is that Sean Payton? No, I think it's a lot of guys that have been losing their whole careers and go this again. That's what I think. Like, and again, is Sean Payton partly responsible as the head coach? 100%. But I don't think Sean Payton, especially given his resume, beat losing and giving up into this roster 3 weeks into the season. You know what I mean? I think that was already in this roster, and it resurfaced really quick because we got off to an ugly 0-2 start.
Yeah.
And then immediately against the Dolphins, I think the defense went, we can't hang with these guys.
It felt like
I think the second drive, they went, oh shit. And then they just kind of packed it in.
I wish we could show that screenshot of everybody laying on the ground on the Broncos defense right now. It would go perfect. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's viral. Just go online. It's insane.